Firstly, bluntly, why are you here? What's the clincher for Gillingham for you?
Yeah, obviously leaving Shrewsbury Town was a big wrench. I have to say that first and foremost. That was they obviously wanted to keep me. The reasons, I don't want to go into too much detail, but what I will say is the chairman and Mickey Moore, the director of football, got a lot of stick for me going, and I think that stick probably could be aimed elsewhere because there's more reasons than that. You know, them two fought hard to keep me, did everything they could, but the fact that here at Gillingham we'd met Brad and Shannon 6 months earlier or 8 months earlier, whatever it was, in the summer at the start of last season, and they put down their plans for that season, and then again when I got permission to speak to Gillingham, again the plans were outlined, very exciting and guaranteed plans. This is what's happening. This is what you've got. This is a 2-year journey that we want you to be part of. Very flattered that they've identified me as that manager to do that 2-year journey. And you know what? The added bonus is I could move back home because I did miss my family a lot while I was up in the in the Shropshire area. So yeah, it was a wrench. It was a real tough decision. This wasn't done lightly, but I'm really happy now. It's almost like, you know, a bad decision is better than no decision. We made a decision. It's a good decision because we know where we're going. We have you know, plenty of backing from the owners now to execute this plan, which I think this club has been crying out for.
Obviously, they were tenacious in courting you and getting you here. Spoke to you in the summer, is that right as well?
Yeah, when myself and Rich were out of work after QPI, you know, we had quite a few teams come for us. One of them was a fantastic project abroad, which really whet our appetite. You know, we've probably been hit hard at QPR and thought, you know, that's a fantastic opportunity, and that was the main reason we didn't come in the first place. We held out for something that never materialised. You make those decisions sometimes. You know, in hindsight, not probably the right decision, but again, we made a decision, and so when they came back, we knew that they would, you know, they're true to their word that we were their number one targets, and yeah, I say really pleased and look forward to working with both, you know, Brad, Shannon and John on moving forward with this club.
And the fit with Gillingham, why is it the good fit for you guys?
The fit is because I believe that the club has been through some real tough times, some real testing times over the last 2 or 3 years. And probably if you go back to my biggest success story, which was Wycombe Wanderers, very similar starts, you know. Again, Shrewsbury Town, you know, I can't say that is very similar as well. That's why the fit was there. And sometimes as a manager, you realise what you are and what you're good at. And I think that a journey, a build, is something that attracts me. And with this man next to me, you know, we certainly do put the process in place to build and make things better. It does take time, so then the time again was definitely an attractive, you know, option, because you can't come in and say change it around in 6 months. You know, there's no chance. You do need time in this game, and it's not often given. But to have that message from the owners and Joe is very attractive for us. So again, we're here and we want to get involved in this 2-year journey.
I know everyone on this table is ambitious, but what can Gillingham fans expect from a Gareth Ainsworth team? There's a lot talked about the way your teams play or the way you like to play, but how would you describe it?
Hey, listen, we are an attacking side. We have an attacking style. We have a front foot style. We often press. We're very adaptable from game to game, which I think is a big plus in the modern game. You have to be adaptable. You know, we often get at teams, but one thing that I'll guarantee is that every player who puts a Gillingham shirt on will empty the tank on that pitch. I'll empty the tank on the side of the pitch, and I believe that as a football fan, which I am myself, that's all you ever want to see from your players. You can accept win, lose or draw, but I believe when you empty the tank, when you put all those processes in place, winning becomes a byproduct of that. and then we all know what a lot of wins get you. But one step at a time. I want to work with these boys, make sure that they understand exactly what it takes to play for me, and see them do it. I'm very early in my tenure, and so far so good, but long way to go.
You've been here a few times as a manager, as a player as well. What's been your experience over the past?
Yeah, you know, I think we came early against Martin Allen, didn't we? And in our Wickham tenure, I think Matt McClure got a goal live on Sky. That's one of my memories. There's been a couple of bad memories. I think Brandon Hanlon haunted us a couple of times, but we decided to sign him then at Wickham and get him in our team, so he couldn't do that anymore. And I remember as a player actually getting applauded off. I think I was about 39 years old, and the Gillingham fans, and I was often substituted at that age, and the Gillingham fans applauded me off the pitch as a respect thing, and that always sat with me as well, you know. So they are intelligent fans, they're football people, and I aim to make them positive about their club again, and to invest in this journey that we want to start together.
And is that your message to supporters, a kinship between management and players and fans, I suppose?
Listen, without a shadow of a doubt, we need them. You know, people say 12th man, it's 12th, 13th and 14th man sometimes. You know, that Rainham end, when it gets going, it can be awesome. Really, really can be. You know, we used to turn Gillingham around when we played here, so they weren't kicking that way in the second half, because it is one of those ends that you're thinking, right, they're kicking to their home fans. It can be tough, that, you know, and so the fans, I'm hoping they'll get on board with what I'm trying to do. And it won't go smoothly all the time, but I always say that when you get behind us in the worst times, then the good times are so much better, because you were there when it was tough and when we slightly lost our way, but we're trying to put it right, and that's my message to the fans.
Thank you, Shannon. Obviously, you've got your men now in the club. I think it was a surprise to all of us when the news was announced.
Okay.
Things seem to move very quickly. What's this week been like?
Oh, it's been a whirlwind, but exciting. And we were purposeful in making this change at this time. So although the week was a whirlwind, and some of the timeline we weren't in complete control of, we knew definitively it was our aim to give the permanent new management team as many games as we could, to give them their own preseason, if you will, to start to assess the squad, assess the staff, assess everything about being a part of this. And so this was a purposeful decision. We were grateful to John and Jimmy for righting our ship for a certain period of time. We know we needed a little bit of a reset and a change. But once we knew we were comfortable, pretty comfortable. I know not statistically perfect, as has been explained to me and re-explained to me. But once we had a comfort level, we decided to pivot towards, okay, we need to start interviewing. And as Gareth mentioned, he and Richard had already bubbled to the top for us. And so we, when we determined we might be able to get them in sooner rather than later, we acted, hence the crazy week.
And what are their attributes? Why is this pair the pair for Gillingham?
Right, well, you know what? So we were intrigued by the project that was Wickham for them. That long, you know, not to overuse the word, but that was truly a journey, right? With successes, challenges, and everything in between. So that was interesting. But I'll share something that actually really intrigued me when I met the two of them last year. Both Richard and Gareth talk a lot about culture. And one of my first tasks when I got here was to look at this club's culture. Assess, reassess, see where we needed adjustments, see what was working, see what wasn't. And when we sat down together and they were speaking the same language of culture, just in the context of the football squad, I thought, oof, I'm intrigued by these guys. So that's my personal answer on that. I'll let Joe say a little bit more about the football side of things, but culture is big for me. So.
And business-wise, obviously you went the whole way, didn't you? There was, as we understand it from what Shrewsbury have said, there was a release clause.
Yes.
and you met that. So this is a significant financial investment for you guys.
Yeah,
as
well, we were excited to have them get here. So, yes, a commitment, but one that we actually sought out. We very much wanted these guys working with us in this building. So yeah, commitment. But that actually kind of speaks to. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent now. But we realized over these last couple of years, and we continue to learn, of course. There was one thing that we'd not been good at. No one laugh. It's continuity, right? So, so we knew we needed to look at having a 2-year solid plan at least, and a management team that we would want to stay the course with, and that would want to stay the course with us. And so we knew that we'd lack that up until this point, and thinking about Gareth and Richard and inviting them along to our new journey of resetting and saying, okay, we are doing this thing and we are committed to a couple-year plan. We couldn't think of anybody better.
And Joe, obviously you're all part of the process of bringing this pair here. What are the big pluses for Gareth and Richard for you?
Yeah, well, I think we set about in January. We almost hit pause. We've been round and round in circles, hiring multiple managers, as we know. So if you remember the press conference in January, we said we're going to hit pause, decide what we want, outline a vision for the club, what do we want our team to look like, and we'll identify all the people that are going to suit that vision when the time comes. We spent a bit of time, myself, Andy Hessenthaler, Ronnie Jepson, working with Brad and Shannon, and some of the first team staff as well, set about what is our vision, what do we want a Gillingham team to look like, what's the identity. Once we'd been through that process, obviously having met Gareth and Richard in the summer, it was very obvious that all the things we'd spoken about there, the things we'd outlined, and we didn't outline a vision for these guys. We've outlined our own vision, and I was on the phone to Brad, and he said, well, Gareth and Dobbo available, and so it's like, no, they're at Shrewsbury now. It's complicated, but he said, how does that work? Can we talk to them? I said, well, we need to get permission. So it's actually nice. It's been really thought through. It's not an easy appointment. There were far easier options for us, but we think it's the appointment that fits our vision, both character-wise, both style of play-wise, and that helps us to believe that as we go on this journey for our 2-year plan, we will be able to build something. It won't be smooth. If you look at the Shannon reference there, the journey these guys went on at Wycombe, it wasn't a straight line from League Two to Championship. Ultimately it went from there to there, but it was up and down. There would be 9th and then 17th and then 4th, and that suggests to me these guys are steady, consistent, determined. It's not an easy thing to be in the same place for that length of time and continue to move it forward. That's what we want to achieve here, and we're really pleased to have these guys because we think they're going to do it for us.
And I don't know which one of you wants to answer this, but obviously when you first came to the club and took over, there was talk of promotion next season, and fans want that. Everyone wants to be ambitious at the beginning of the season. What are the targets now for the new management team? Is it has to be going up next year? Is it now a gradual process over that time?
I'll leave that with you.
So one of the things that we've identified, there's been so much talk about promotion, and we've spent probably a couple of years obsessing over the end result without actually obsessing over the process to get there. So we're not talking about an end result. We're not talking about what that's going to look like. We're talking about what are we going to do in 2 years. And if we hit these milestones, hit these goals, achieve these things, Gareth's massive on building an infrastructure and growing that infrastructure. These are things that we can control. We can control it. These guys can control it. If we build that infrastructure, we will get an end result that we want. But we've got to stop talking about that end result before we've put this work in place, which is why we've done the 2-year deal, the 2-year plan. And if we achieve what we are setting out to achieve, we'll get a result we want. But we're not obsessing over the end result. We're going to obsess over the process that we go to get there.
And finally, if you don't mind, from big picture, I'm going to, there's a game at the weekend. So, Richard, you'll have met the squad by now. What have you made of them?
Well, we worked for the first time with them today. The training session was good. They were bubbly. We had a good chat with them. And it's obviously the first day in, so they're all chomping at the bit to try and impress. But we've spoken to him about our vision for the way that we want this club to work, and I said to him, it's very much a partnership. It isn't staff at the top of the mountain and players at the bottom. It's very much a joined up approach. So we want a lot of communication. We want to work together and move forward as a group, as a whole. And some of them players have got a good knowledge of this football club, having been here for a while, so they can help us settle in and adapt. So we're here to have a look at the next 5 weeks, I think it is. We'll assess. We'll look at and see who's going to take us forward, not just with what they've got on the pitch, what they bring on the pitch, but what they've got off it, the type of people that they are, and whether they're the right characters to develop this club going forward.
It's a ruthless business, football, Gareth, as you all know. I guess you'll be looking at some of those players and auditioning them for the end of the season or for new contracts.
Absolutely, yeah. We have, I'll say it now, we have too many players here. I like working with small squads. For me, for other managers, maybe enough players. For me, I think we will slim the squad down slightly because that's the way I work. And I believe that some of the problems start with so many people out the squad, never mind the team. So I want to go quality over quantity. We've worked like that. We sort of stumbled on it at Wickham, and we thought, this works well because there's a decent academy here as well, and I'd rather have an academy kid dying to get on the bench than 7 professionals sat in the stand nowhere near the bench. And that's where the balance is. So it's something we work towards. We do sail close to the wind at times, but we believe it's really healthy for the club. And when Rich talks about off the pitch, that's the culture that they all buy into, and everyone's got each other's back. Everyone works for each other, and that seeps out into the community and the fans, and we've all got each other's back. If we all do that on a Saturday, then the byproduct is a good result, and that's what we intend to get.
Start with a win wouldn't be bad, would it?
Listen, we've said we'd love a win to start with. We're going for the win, and that's one thing I'll tell you about my management style. We go for a win. I don't know how to go for a draw, or obviously you don't go for losses, but we'll go to win the game. We'll learn plenty in the game with our players. Training will show you so much. The game will show you so much more, and we're going up to Harrogate to win the game. We've worked on them. We've assessed their strengths and weaknesses and ours, and we're going up there to win the game. When that happens, like I say, process will be in place to try and assess the whole of the squad before the end of the season, and then make some tough decisions, as that always happens at the end of the year.
Wish you luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi guys, I just wanted to know a bit more about the 2-year plan, in that we've been here before and managed to kind of always say, well, playoff is the goal. So I wanted to know if the 2-year plan, is that all come from you guys on the left, or was that you guys on the right, or was that all a conversation how you came up with the 2-year plan?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, go.
So we over the last couple of months, sort of from January really, we've been outlining the 2-year plan to talk about. A lot of that is dictated by, we looked at the contractual situations of the players at the moment. So what are we in control of in the summer? What are we not in control of? And that sort of has dictated the length of the plan, if you like. Then we've got the vision that we want, the identity of what we wanted the team to look like, and then you go, okay, looking at that contractual situation, what have we got there that can fit the identity? How quickly can we build that identity? So when we met at the end of last week, it was a very much a two-way process where we actually sat there, and unusually I actually had my laptop out. Normally it's a manager that comes and presents. I had my laptop out with Hess, and and we sat there and went, right, this is how we see it. This is our situation. This is the contractual situation. How do you see it? And so, for example, one of the things that's probably been touched upon, Gareth mentioned about how he likes to work with a smaller squad. That's something we had identified. So that's not us dictating that. That's not a Gareth dictating that. Actually, we'd all said this is what we want it to look like, and it perfectly aligns. So we think our identities align. We think the 2 year is the right period of time because of our financial commitments in terms of the squad at the moment, and that's what's really dictated it.
And both of you two, really, you like the idea of 2 years. I mean, you've sort of mentioned that was a project that appealed to you, and you guys work well together.
Yeah, we've been together for over 600 games now, on the touchline, so that the synergy between us is unbreakable. We trust each other implicitly, and I wouldn't go anywhere without Double. But when you're talking about the 2-year plan, people will look at it going, right, games, players. There's so much more to it than that in this 2-year plan. The whole infrastructure of this place, we want to change the culture, and that's something we've spoke to Joe and Shannon and Brad about. It's not just what you see on the Saturday on the pitch. I want the Gillingham fans to have a club they're proud of, and a club that will attract players. So right down to training grounds and facilities and everything like that. I think we need to make sure that it's set up for winning games, and that's where we're coming with the culture side. It's not just get me the best players and I'll spend all the money on the best players. There's all sorts of little things that need putting in place, which when you go through your tough periods, you fall on your structure and your identity, and that's a big thing. Let's get this club an identity. Double.
Yeah, no, we're in absolute alignment. I think that's the key thing. I'm really excited about the senior group of people at this club and what we can achieve together. I think we warmed to each other when we first met, and when you're around good people and you know they're good people, you get drawn to them again, and it's probably fate that this has happened, but it's nice to be at a place where we felt so wanted, and where we're all very much on the same page. So I'm really looking forward to the journey, and look, if we can influence people around us as well. And when we talk about the club, we're talking about the staff, not just the players. There's a lot to develop here. I've got a background in youth development. I'm really excited about the area and the area of Kent that we can pick players up from. So when we talk about longevity, you need longevity for them young players to come through to products of the youth system in the first team and doing great. Why can't there be a lot more? If we can be a club that can attract young players because we give them an opportunity, as we always have done in the past, then let's build on that as well. So there's so many opportunities.
Do you get involved in the development, or do you get at all involved in recruitment as well? Because I know obviously there's a system in place, and I'd be interested to know. Fans have been a little critical of recruitment in the past, so is anything going to be done slightly differently now you guys are in place?
And recruitment wise, yeah, we're going to be involved in recruitment. Of course, we've got some great experience with Andy Hessenthaler and Ronnie Jepson. I actually made my league debut with Ronnie Jepson back in '91, so we go back a long way. And Hess, obviously, club legend. But I think that it's important that everyone's involved in that. The more people, the better for me. Just because these are big decisions now for this football club, and if there has been any criticism of it, then I'll take that going forward, because I'm going to be involved in that, and Richard will be in there. We've got a great knowledge of players. It's achievable first, available, and do they fit Gillingham, and that's big criteria that we've got to fill. And there's also some positional things that we'll discuss. But we're going to be involved in that. It was one of the chats we had when we came in to say we would like to be involved in that. I was involved in that heavily at my last 3 clubs, and definitely want to be in here.
And just finally, when you were playing, I think Gillingham had a slightly bigger stature as a club, and do you? I just wonder if that's part of why you took the job. Do you feel like it could get back there again?
There's definitely a huge potential at Gillingham. They were championship when I've played against them in the past when I was at QPR, so you'd be stupid not to say that they have the history of being bigger than they are right now. But again, don't want to get dragged into saying we're going to be this. We're going to be hard to beat. We're going to put the processes in place, and winning is a byproduct of all that. And we've worked like that. We're big on process. We really are. The coaching sessions, the way we play games, and that's we're going to stick to that. It's been successful for us.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, sure. So there's at the end of 2 years, there's nothing in your mind that you think we need to be here or there. There's no sort of position you expect to be.
No, I think there's places we want to be. That's obvious, but there's no set. This must happen within 2 years. I think, as I said earlier on, we've sort of obsessed over that end result too much. And actually we've gone backwards, on the pitch. So now it's about, okay, we've got to be realistic about where we jump from to 20th. We've got to grow this thing. And I think people will see it, they'll feel it. You know, I think you can feel whether something is being successful. There's obviously very obvious. Your league position is an obvious indicator of whether you're improving or not. Right, great. But there's also things like how many chances you're creating. All that stuff is a byproduct of what these guys are talking about in terms of culture and growing an infrastructure of a club. So there isn't these guys haven't been told you've got to do that in year 1 and you've got to do that in year 2. That's not what it is. It's about this is what we want to achieve and we want to build, and if we do that and we do it right, we'll end up getting where we need to be.
Is a feeling that will take the expectation, the pressure, everyone can just sort of chill out a little bit more?
I don't think it's about chilling out. That's definitely the wrong phrase. Look, people here are under pressure. That's myself, Andy Hessenthaler, we talk regularly about like, come on, now's the time. We've learned our lessons. We've restructured how we do recruitment. We've done all of that. We now need to start moving this club forward. We know that the pressure still remains. I just think we need to be honest with the supporters and realistic with the supporters. I think they're sick of hearing us talk a big game and not deliver. We know that. So now it's us to again. This is what we're going to do. You should see it. You should feel it. We'll certainly see it and feel it inside the club. Hopefully they see it on a Saturday. And yeah, just stop the talk of we're going to do all these great things when we can't actually guarantee we can. I think that's one of the learnings that we've taken.
Shannon, how have you found running an English football league club? I mean, it's not been straightforward.
Oh, it's been amazing. I feel like this new chapter has been a huge gift for me. When we got involved, I actually wasn't completely sure what my level of involvement would be, nor what my involvement would be. I brought to it experience in organizational structure, company culture, marketing, which I'd love to actually just do marketing, but it turns out there's not enough time for me to just do that. But and so I've been able to bring those various skills, and so it has been. I can't find the right words. I love it. That's the truth of it.
And now the first training session, I think today was it. How did you find it? How receptive were the players?
Yeah, really receptive. We'll bring energy to them sessions, and they reciprocated today with plenty of energy, plenty of enthusiasm. They've been through the mill this season. The players, they really have. With 3 different managers, and obviously changes of style, expectation from fans, and I do feel for the players, but it's new now, and this is what we're talking about. Taking the expectation off them and going, right, enjoy your football again, energise, because I believe that you get the best results when you're happy, when you're playing with freedom. And I think that these boys have shown this morning that they're well capable of winning games. It's just now consistently doing it, because that's the difference between the better teams in the league and the worst teams. You can raise a team to a game, but the better teams do it week in, week out, consistently, and that's what I aim to get. But again, it will be time. This isn't going to happen overnight. It never does, and I'll be working really hard. Gillingham fans can rest assured that I will be turning every stone over to make this place successful. And what success looks like is we have an identity. We're tough to beat. We are Gillingham. We're back to that team that everyone wants to come and support, and we emptied the tank. This is success for me. This is what it is. And as I said, winning then becomes byproducts of all those things.
And 9 games left. How do you approach those last 9 games with wanting to assess the players, and do you experiment a little bit, or it's difficult because obviously you want to win every game? But
yeah. No, I want to. I mean, the same as I approach most games with any team I've managed. I believe that we'll stick out the best team to win that game. That's what I believe, and it's very tough in these early games because we've only seen the players a couple of times. You see them on the highlights on TV, but I'm hoping Gillingham fans can appreciate. I've been looking at a lot of League One clubs this season and watching Shrewsbury Town, how we're doing, and assessing that. Really. So to try and get a grip on this has been a hell of a week. It really has. They do need some early nights, I think, but we are going to make sure that we go into each of these games to win, not to experiment. and it's up to the players, if they're chosen to play, to prove that they want to be part of this journey going forward.
Richard, finally with you, can you maybe describe your relationship, you and Gareth, how you sort of get on and work as a team? Obviously you've worked together for a long time, many years now.
Yeah, obviously, Gaz is an energiser. There's a lot of positive energy around Gaz, and people warm to that. He brings the best out in people. I'm there probably slightly calmer, quieter. I do my work in the shadows, and I'm quite happy for Gaz to be the front man and I sit in the background and just keep things ticking. So there's times where I have a chat with him and just say, Gaz, we might need a little bit more of this, or we might need a little bit less than that. And he's always receptive to that. So I think it works really well. We've been described in the past as yin and yang by a chairman, but when you find that middle ground between the two of us, I think that's the sweet spot.
He's the drummer, I'm the lead singer.
Can we expect to see you back?
I'll give it some time first. I've got some games to win first, but there's every chance.
I've got a 1-year plan to get Gareth in the factory.
A couple more from me, guys, so I won't keep you too long. Gareth, first one for you. I just want to understand the sort of impact, and I guess what was the pull to come to Gillingham, the impacts being away from your family so much in Shrewsbury, and why this project really appealed to you.
Yeah, do you know, I don't want any Gillingham fan thinking he only came to be with his family. That's definitely, that's a huge bonus for me. Big family man. When we talk about culture, that's who I am. Family's everything for me, and these boys I want these to be my family as well. But yeah, that had a huge pull on that. It's difficult living away from home. It's the first time I did it in football, and yeah, I missed my my wife to be. We're getting married in the summer, which is great, but it's 20 years too late. So we and my 3 children. That was hard, but as I say, I don't want anyone thinking it was easy to walk out of Shrewsbury Town. It wasn't easy, and that means a few things. That means that I have a hell of a respect for the chairman there and the people there and the fans. Probably took a little bit of stick for doing what I've done, but the reasons were that in place here is this 2-year plan. Guaranteed, this is where it is. So the job that the Gallinsons and Joe have done to get us here, I think has been fantastic, because they really pushed for us, and I respect that, because it wasn't cheap, it wasn't easy, and it was a huge decision for us to make to leave that football club, because I did love it there, and I was happy there, but this is a new chapter now, and I'm really getting stuck into this, and you see in football how quickly it goes sometimes, and yeah, really happy here, and the big thing was that plan in place when we had the meeting to show us it's there, this is what you have, and this is the journey we want to go on. That excites me a lot.
Thank you, Gareth. Shannon, one for you quickly. You've sort of touched on the sort of life of being owner of a football club for the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. I wonder whether there's been some expensive lessons on the way that you probably wish you didn't have to have.
Is that your question? Of course. Yes. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, there have been some expensive mistakes. They haven't been deal breakers for us. Brad and I remain committed to doing this. Listen, we went into this eyes pretty wide open. We didn't think that we'd be, living the high life and taking big dividends out of our club. So we were really interested in this project that was Gillingham, and wanted to roll our sleeves up, get our hands dirty, and be involved. Yeah, it's cost us a little bit of money, but we're still here. We're going nowhere, and so that's the long and the short of it. Yes, it would have been nice for it to be a little bit less expensive, but so be it.
You're still here.
Yeah, we're here. We're here. We're here for the long run.
Best of luck, Gareth. Thank
you.
Thank you.
First question from me to Shannon and/or Joe. What was John's reaction?
Yeah, no, listen, John is a great guy, pro. He wasn't actually in the building yesterday. Tuesday. Yeah, he wasn't in the building on Tuesday, so obviously spoke to him on the phone initially, and he was like, yeah, good. I think one of the key things we had been honest with him about the process. It wasn't out of the blue. He knew we had started the process of deciding what we were going to do next season. That was really important for me to be honest. He'd been honest with us, and we'd had that sort of relationship from the start. And I mean, it tells you how it's ended, where he came down on Tuesday and sat and had a coffee with us in the evening, didn't we? And we had a long chat about the club, his time here. I think he's really enjoyed it, and he gets to go back up north to his family, and yeah, we're friends. And it is, he's sort of saying, look, if I see any players whilst I'm watching games, I'll let you know. Yeah. Real top guy, him and Jimmy, really good guys.
Yeah, he was a gentleman, and we did enjoy a nice last hour with him. Reflected on some things, gave us his thoughts, opinions, as he has done for the few months, or a couple months that he was here, a few months. Really lovely guy, and I believe that we parted as friends. So,
is there anything that you've been through since you took the club over that you would do again?
Would not do again?
Yeah.
Would not do again.
Is there anything you would do differently?
That's a good question. Oh. This is going to sound cliche. I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. The growth through the bumps in the road and the mistakes have been everything. So I'm a big believer. How can I be articulate about it? That you don't grow and you don't get better unless you make mistakes. And so, no, I would do all of it again. I'd do it the same way, because in every scenario, we've learned. And it turns out you can't learn this from any books. You can't learn this from documentaries you might watch. You can't even learn it from people who are with you in it. You have to experience it. So I know that sounds cliche, but no, I would take all of it. And
And Joe, you've been in your role a year now. Did you expect the sort of year you've had?
No, look, it's. Did I think it would be easier? Yes. Did I think I knew more than I actually did? Yes, I thought I knew more than I did. I've learnt a lot of lessons. I think one of the frustrating things about football and my role is when you learn from mistakes, it takes a long time to actually demonstrate that you've learned from them, because of the way it is with things like transfer windows. So, and a great example of that is very quickly within 6 months, I felt like we needed to restructure how we did recruitment, for example. So we did that in September, October. Now we've actually signed one player since we restructured that recruitment process on a permanent. We did some loans. We signed one player. So you don't actually get to demonstrate, and I'm actually quite excited for the summer because the processes we put in place, led by the manager's input at the start, the manager's ultimate decision at the end, and his involvement throughout. We can demonstrate those learnings in the summer, but we have to wait until the summer to do it, and that's really frustrating. So yeah, it's been quite a year, but do I feel like I'm a better managing director now than I was a year ago? 100%. And a part of that is proving with the manager process. Part of it was understanding what we need from a manager, understanding what we needed in that whole setup, and Dobbo was probably, I think Gareth probably was the first to say, I think he's probably an underestimated, but underappreciated maybe by the general public about his contribution to this management team. That's something that really attracts us. So yeah, knowing now about football players, the setup, has helped us bring these guys in.
Richard, Gareth's spoken about the Rainier men and the support here and the rest of it. What can the Rainier men expect from him on a match day?
Well, I'll give you a clue. He's kicked me twice on the touchline over the years. So he heads every ball, and he has actually kicked me. And I did say to him, I turned around to him and said, I need to start wearing shin pads here on the touchline. So he's a highly kinesthetic person. So he's involved in everything that happens on the pitch, and I think he probably shows the same emotions that the fans are feeling. So there's a synergy there because they're seeing the same thing from their manager that they're feeling at the same time. I think that's quite important. You know, when you see a manager and he doesn't look invested, or at times, you know, they stood there and they look a bit bored on the touchline, it's very easy to turn against those type of people. So I think with Gaz, what you're going to get is somebody that's living every moment of the game, desperate to win, will do anything to win, and hopefully that will filter onto the players, and they'll be the same.
How excited are you about the project?
Really excited, yeah. It's what I wanted in football at this stage of my life. I've been doing this job coaching for 25 years now, so I think it's 13 years as assistant manager and over 650 games. So over that time you accumulate a lot of knowledge. I've been an academy manager, I've worked with every age group through the academy, assistant manager, you know, reserve team manager, and 650 plus games at first team level. So I think I've got a lot to offer, and a lot to offer the project as a whole. You know, it's a lot of knowledge. I'm still doing courses, I'm still learning. You're always learning every day, but yeah, I think I can really help the people here, and I see myself very much as a developer of people, not just players but people. So I'm hoping that I can assist the staff here in their development, and I'll be working ever so hard with the players to develop them as individuals, because if they all improve as individuals, the team improves and we're all better off.
Gareth, are you keeping the same basic backroom staff as John had previously?
Backroom staff here, yeah. We need to add. We need to definitely add. I think we've lost a few over the year, so we'll be looking at some additions definitely. But again, the staff, so far have been fantastic with me. You know, I think they're all buying in. I think they were desperate for some journey to be put in place and become a part of. And yeah, so so far it's running smoothly.
Have you spoken to John, or do you think you are going to speak to John or any processes?
I haven't spoken yet. John will know it's football. I know it's football. We've met many times on the touchline, and both being Northwest lads, you know, we have a great connection. So John and Jimmy, yeah, good friends, and I'm sure if John ends up in management, we'll share a beer after a game, no problem. It's I think the fact that Joe was totally open and honest with him, John sort of thought, okay, somebody may come in, and yeah, I think John will understand football. He's wily enough to know that happens.
On the pitch itself, obviously the main struggle effect is, I'm not saying just because Brad Chan when he took over, but in their reign here, the struggle has been scoring goals. How can you change that?
It's the hardest part of the game, you know, but with the right recruitment, the right man management, and the right sessions, you know, I want the players to feel like they belong here. They walk into Gillingham Football Club and they belong to the club, and that will get us better performances on the pitch without a doubt. You know, it's my big belief is that the culture will outdo anything, and positional wise, you know, of course we want strikers who'll score goals, but if you put the right structure in place, we'll get there. Listen, I'm a front foot manager, I'm an attacking manager. There will be chances for our strikers. Dobbo puts on a lot of clinics of finishing and technique of finishing, so all I can say is we'll work really hard on addressing what we feel like you've recognised is one of the weaker parts of our game at the moment. So there's definitely some goal scorers in this side. They just haven't turned up this season, and we'll aim to change that.
I know obviously the first game is Saturday at Harrogate, but have you allowed yourself to think forward to Tuesday's game with Colchester, your first game at home?
Absolutely. I mean, my first 2 weeks are mayhem, you know, Saturday, Tuesday, and as a manager, as a player, you love those weeks. You're not training too much, you're just playing games. As a manager, you hate those weeks because the prep you have to do, and as a manager that came in a week before or 3 days before, there's so much to do, you know, so it's going to be a test, but also, yeah, I think under the lights here will be a great occasion against Colchester, who are flying high under the Cowleys, you know. It's going to be a tough game without a shadow of a doubt, but yeah, looking forward to my first home game. But yeah, thoughts are all on Harrogate at the moment and what we're going to do up there.
Looking forward to welcoming you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Are we all done? Thank you very much.
Cheers.